Okay, so 2 years ago I made this outfit on Planetside 2, and over the past 2 years we've grown to a massive degree, and we also have by far the best infantry statistics for any large outfit in the game by a significant margin. Now we are trash in vehicles, but I don't really think that's what really matters too much in the meta currently, and so we do focus on infantry. Now 2 years ago when I set out to get our outfit to the best possible skill that I could manage in a large outfit, I did a few unique things and continue to do unique things that a lot of other outfits refuse to adopt. I think a lot of people don't bother doing this because they think it's like not worth the time, or it won't matter that much, or they're just apathetic. But to me, if I'm going to be playing with people for any period of time, I would like them to be at least somewhat competent, and so training them up to a decent level I think just makes sense from that mindset alone. And so even if you don't want to think of this in a way where you're trying to help people, which a lot of people probably won't resonate with that much, even just selfishly, you want to help other people so that when you're playing with these people in your squad, they're at a decent level of skill. And likewise, when you're playing with your faction on the server, that faction overall has a higher level of skill relative to the opposition, which means you don't have to put as much effort in to win long term. And so this strategy is more effective and spends less time. A lot of people argued with me about this in the last 2 years because I coined the term, or at least used the term to try to explain it, passive training, which a lot of people found hilarious and thought that it would never work and it was just a dumb idea, and that the only way that you could really train people is in one-on-one environments or in group settings of say 12 people, and for 2 hours straight you regale all of this information to them. Half of it's not retained, and the half that is retained probably isn't that good, and even if it is good information you could have probably just said it in a 10-minute video. Now I will say that this method is a lot more personable. You get to know people when you do this trading and they get to know you, which does have value, and I'm not trying to take away from that. However, if you actually want to have the result instead of just pretending you want the result, you have to look at what objectively works. There's a few reasons why passive training material, whatever you want to call it, is better than training people manually one by one. Number one, it's scalable, so you only have to make the information once. Number two, they can view it at the time of their leisure. And so oftentimes, especially in large outfits when you got lots of people, if you try to get a training course down, even if you get 24 people like I've done a few times, you might have 50 or 60 people online. Most of those people may not at that moment be interested. But the great thing about training material is that second that they're getting wrecked by that guy with a 40% headshot ratio, they can then go look at the guide at that point when they've got the emotional leverage to go look at the information, not just when you want them to. And the other reason it's great to have training material is because, as I mentioned, it's a lot more condensed, detailed and efficient for people to look at. If they spend half an hour looking at information trying to improve, they could read all of my guides in that time, or look at the video tutorials that we have and choose to look at whatever is suited to them, which I think makes much more. But again, just looking at the statistics on Outfit Tracker based on the last 30 days, we can see that, for example, my outfit has I think 1.07 KD for infantry. And then I look at literally any other outfit in the game that's a large outfit and has open recruitment, and I do not see that. If you only recruit 10 members new a month, obviously you've got a far disproportionately larger amount of salty vets, and therefore the KD of your infantry is going to be far higher. But for those of us which are actively recruiting new players, it's important to look at those infantry statistics because it has a big impact on the faction win rate, which has an impact on the faction retention of new players, and that also has an impact of how much fun people have. And so keeping those statistics relatively high compared to everyone else, I think has a big impact. And that to me is part of the reason, and it's also again because when I'm playing with these people, I really would like them to be at a decent level of skill. And to be honest, just a general level of competence where they know, okay, I should be running Resnade on Medic, I should have Bandolier or Flag. Okay, if I'm running Engineer, I should probably have a hard light barrier, and I know to place a hard light barrier at the door. And if I'm going to be running in a mana turret, I should have Robots Technician and Jockey. And also knowing which guns are good, and also knowing to install a crosshair. And also if I tell people to pull a max, they know what max to pull. You know, for Vanu it's Blue Shift. And I think for TR it's Marcy, and NC it's Scatter Max, I believe. And so it's not even just the statistics that you see in infantry gameplay gameplay, it's also the extra utility that knowledgeable players provide by being able to play in the optimal way, and also know how to read a map, not overextend, know how to pull Valkyries from the map screen instead of running to the vehicle terminal manually, all helps me be able to do a better job when I'm platoon leading, and makes things easier on me, less burden on me, and I can focus on having more fun when I'm playing the game. And to be honest, I need to get more into that, and I think actually in the future I'm going to play Heavy Assault more, because I kind of need to record gameplay, and I've been playing Medic so much recently. I don't think it's necessarily the most fun thing to watch, and my aim has gone down the gutter too, so I need to fix that. Anyway, back to the topic. A lot of people really thought this was a dumb take when I first suggested doing this 2 years ago. People thought that genuinely you couldn't train people passively, but they didn't really understand the system building aspects that you have in businesses can also actually be applied to any community. If you want any community that's large to get certain information into their heads, you can, as long as you present it in a consistent manner and in a way that it's appealing to them. And eventually they're all going to look at it at some time, and that's just statistics. And to be fair, some of them won't. Some of them will just be like, I can't be bothered, or they're not English, or they're too casual and they're not going to be around for long enough, they don't have enough commitment to the game, or they just think they know better, or they just simply are casual players and they don't care if they're playing bad. Whatever the reason, at least you do capture those which do want to improve at a highest amount possible, and that is done via passive training. And I know that there's other words to describe it, but since that was kind of the meme word that I used 2 years ago, that's kind of what I want to use to describe it here, even though obviously there's things like training material, which does sound better, but to be honest, is it really important? I think at some point I might also go over the other things that people used to have an issue with me for. Although this was one of the main ones, to be honest. It really was that people really thought that, large outfits are inherently bad, they never have a good community, the community that is there is only there because they were spam invited in, and you're never going to be able to retain players, all of which I proved to be incorrect. And I think I want to go over that at some point and kind of talk a little bit about where all of those outfits are now relative to our outfit. And to be fair, a lot of this isn't just me. It's also the other Planetside leaders which have helped massively. As a leader, I don't think you should actually lead that much, and I actually do a really bad job of this. For whatever reason, I'm awful at convincing people to platoon lead instead of me, and so that is my massive weakness, and I can never tell another outfit or even pretend to know how to get people to do that. Generally speaking, I'm happy if people platoon lead and I encourage it, but I don't have the actual skills to get people to decide, okay, I want to lead. And I really don't want to underplay that too much, because I think that it's very important in large outfits to have a lot of leaders. But I did definitely want to mention it as a limitation of this video. Anyway, have a great day. Until next time, GG, I'm out. Bye bye.